Hello, and welcome to the Sharlayan Forum. My name is Chris, and today I have a pretty informal video, but I wanted to go over the live letter that was released late last night as a part of the 14-hour stream for the 10th anniversary of Final Fantasy XIV. With this, we got the first official benchmark trailer for the upcoming expansion Dawntrail. And like many other benchmark trailers, there's a lot of sneak peeks and hidden little things that we can notice, so I just wanted to go through it and break it down with you today. So the first thing that we're going to see is the boat sailing across the water, and the graphics update is on full display here. You can see the transparency really well. All the textures look a lot nicer. Just a much cleaner looking experience than we're used to right now in 14. So then we have a scene of the Warrior of Light checking out a map and looking at a compass in one of these wooded areas, jungle areas that we've seen a lot in Tyrol. It has a lot of different shots with some interesting stuff, especially this one here. Really nice. The shadows are looking great. Everything just looks much more polished and much cleaner. You can tell that this graphics update is needed, and they're putting in a lot of work for it, and it shows. Okay, and then we get to our first combat segment here. So these benchmarks are designed to push your PC, so there's a lot going on, but here we see a gunbreaker using some kind of, it looks to me like maybe a continuation on Fated Circle, the AoE finisher, the AoE spender, I should say. You can see that he uses it immediately before and then uses this new AoE explosive attack. Immediately afterwards, we have a Dragoon who uses a new attack. It looks like they summon Vritra's head out of the ground. You can see the two horns there, this large dark spiral around it. Really interesting. Of course, Dragoon is getting a massive rework with this expansion, so we have absolutely no idea how this is going to fit in with the rest of their kit. Because their kit is going to be completely new. So then we have a Sage attack. This looks like it might just be an upgraded Toxicon or something. It's some kind of AoE, kind of hard to decipher. And then we have a Black Mage using a Thunder spell. This is really interesting because it's also sort of a dark looking spell. So we don't know if this is an upgraded version of the Thunder spells they already have, or if this is a new Thunder spell. They're trying to introduce another element into the rotation. Really quick, easy to miss there. There's a Summoner using a spell that looks like it might be Thunder themed. Maybe that's sort of hinting at Rama becoming a part of the rotation. We then see a monk use some kind of punching attack, surprise, that summons a tiger's head, it looks like. And then a dancer that uses what looks to be like an upgraded version of Saber Dance. It might even just be Saber Dance. Maybe it's just a new effect. I'm not sure, but it's a little bit bigger, a little bit flashier than regular Saber Dance. So we fly down to what looks like it's probably going to be a Fate boss, if I had to guess. Let's see the Viper jump in there. And then we get this really interesting attack from the Paladin, who basically looks like Requiescat, but bigger, a little bit more wind up. So maybe that's just an upgrade for Requiescat. Maybe that's a new AoE version. We don't know, but interesting. So then there's the Red Mage, who does this sort of leaping attack. It looks like they might throw the rapier, and it sort of comes back to them almost like a boomerang, and you get the thorn circles and flower petals popping up like you would get out of Resolution, their finisher right now. So then we have a Samurai who does overhead spinning attack, almost like a Primal Rend, Samurai edition. So then we get a Machinist who does Chainsaw Giga version. To me, this just looks like an upgraded version of Drill. It just seems like it behaves very similarly. It kind of sticks and hits multiple times. It looks almost exactly like Drill, just with a chainsaw animation instead, so I assume that that's going to be an upgraded. So then we have an Astro that does this sort of party buff. Again, Astro is getting a huge rework with this expansion, so we have no idea what this is or what it's going to be in context of their kit. It'll be interesting to see. It looks like some kind of defensive or offensive buff. I don't see like any sort of shield indication, so I would think it's probably some kind of offensive buff, maybe like a balance that applies to the entire party or something. Then we have a ninja who does Giga Frog, much bigger frog. It's armored. It has this sort of mask on the back, and the flame is a very large blue fireball as opposed to the standard red-orange type of fireball that we see with the current Hellfrog medium. So then we see some crafters and gatherers, some armor from them. Nothing too crazy here. We do see trolls. Final Fantasy XI players will recognize the trolls there making an appearance. And then we get this kind of interesting scene where they're standing over a map. But the main thing here to focus on is all the artifact gear that we can see. So we see Dark Knight. We see Scholar, obviously Kryl and Wuklamad are here. We also see White Mage, Bard, and Reaper AFs in this clip. There's a good look at the Palu Palu, I think they're called, or Pelu Pelu. So again, there's all our AFs there. Good shots of them. Good to see them in game. Something they mentioned during the live letter is they've kind of tweaked the mount animations. So mounts will sort of tilt when you turn, and you can see they sort of turn with you. You can see that in this clip really well. Something that you didn't really notice wasn't there, but now that it's there, I think it's going to be really nice, and you're never going to be able to go back. It just looks a lot more realistic. All right, so our second combat segment, so we're going to see all the jobs we didn't see the first time. Big jumble here, pretty much impossible. I think these are all just regular skills. I didn't see anything jump out at me that looked new there. So then we've got our Galul Jaja, two-headed, and that's our target here. So we've got the Viper and the Pictomancer doing some attacks. And then we see the White Mage use this, what looks like a lily, honestly, so with the animation here, since it's a pink and red animation, to me, this sort of looks similar to a Flatus Misery, but it's almost a healing version. It makes me wonder if they're going to give White Mage a way to spend the Blood Lily beneficially, and maybe if they just need that emergency healing, they have that option for a really, really strong party-wide way to spend a Blood Lily as opposed to being forced to use it offensively. I know that probably no White Mages that do any hardcore content are ever going to use that because the offensive damage is way too high from Misery, but it would be an interesting thing to add, a good way to shake up their kit. Dark Knight here having some kind of cross slash. Well, there's something in the middle there, isn't there? There's some kind of, right here, there's some kind of slash. I don't know if that's something I've seen, and then he does the cross slash, and then he follows it up with a new. So Dark Knight may be getting a whole new combo. I mean, that would be interesting if they gave them a second combo back. Dark Knight was very famous for having multiple combos in its introduction, and that was an identity that they lost. And so it'd be very interesting to see that return, because that looks like 3 animations that I don't think I remember seeing. I don't play a ton of Dark Knight, but I play it enough that those don't look familiar. So then we have Reaper. It is in Shroud right here, so it is in its burst window. It reaches down and has this very large claw that manifests from the Void Scent, and then this huge eruption of crystals. To me, this looks like either a second finisher on top of Communio, similar to a Red Mage finisher combo, or it could just be a straight up upgrade from Communio. I don't see why they would need a second skill. So to me, having a second finisher, maybe it's a spender that requires 2 sparks instead of 1 like Communio does. Not sure, but to me it just looks like a very strong Communio. Oh no, it does remove them from Enshroud. So we can say that it does function like Communio, where when you execute it, it's going to take you out of Enshroud. So then we have Bard here, who does execute some kind of jumping shot. It looks like a similar animation to Empyrean Arrow, much larger, much flashier, and it seems sort of like wind attuned. It's very green. So this could be an upgrade to Empyrean Arrow, or it could be a whole new skill. Maybe it's an AoE that does something, because it does have a pretty large animation. So then we see some Viper stuff rather. So we see them enter their trance phase. They do that big teleport attack like they did from the reveal, and then we get their LB3 start. But the interesting thing here is that Wuklamot runs in and activates this defensive ability, and she is standing in front of the Warrior of Light and kind of stationary there, and that big purple shield appears and then disappears immediately after taking a hit. So this to me basically seems like a reactionary version of Passage of Arms for Warrior. You stand in front of somebody and whatever hits you, it gets absorbed or blocked, or maybe it heals, some Warrior gimmick. Seems clear that ability was meant for the Warrior of Light, and Wuklamot absorbs it with this ability. That's the language that they're trying to communicate here, which is very Passage of Arms, but it seems like it gets consumed immediately when she is hit. It does not persist like Passage of Arms does. It could be a reactionary thing, almost like a Third Eye cover combo. Really interesting. Can't wait to see more about that. And then we get the Viper LB3 in all its glory. Looks really nice. Really cool sound effect. Big boom at the end. And then we get our nice little outro shot. So yeah, really excited for the benchmark. If you didn't watch the live letter, the benchmark goes live very late, or I guess you could say very early tomorrow morning at midnight West Coast time in the US, which is 3 a.m. my time. So I'll be installing and messing with it Sunday morning when I wake up. But yeah, really excited, really cool stuff. Can't wait to see what it runs like on my computer. This is a reminder that they are updating the graphical requirements, the hardware requirements for the graphical update. So I would highly recommend that you download the benchmark and run it to make sure that your computer is going to be able to run the new graphics. And if it has some issues, maybe take the time between now and launch to replace some parts, get the rig ready, because it is definitely different. They showed a lot of footage in the live letter that the screenshots did not do it justice. It looks very good. It looks a lot different. So really excited to see more, but that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do a quick cover, kind of showcase what I saw, and hope everybody enjoyed. Leave a comment if you'd like, if you think I've earned it. Subscribe and share with your friends. And that's all for today. Bye.